motherfucker, you can't have my cornbread. That's for damn sure. Because if you try to take my cornbread, part 2 of my killing spree gonna begin up in here on your ass right now. If you think about my cornbread, get the taste out your mouth. That's for damn sure. Now fuck him. Fuck that. Because I'm from New York City, goddammit. Nobody take no cornbread from me. That go for you and any of you motherfucking farmers wanna try some shit. You fuck around with me, it's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
Haters gonna hate, and ain'ters gonna ain't.
That is not an actual thing, people.
What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Make sure you guys follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, and also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. And also you can follow us on the Facebook page and also on our YouTube page. I'm Trey Frazier. He's Maestro Styles.
Yes, sir.
And we got a special guest in the building today.
It's about damn time that we got a Pittsburgh Steelers fan on here, because every time we bring a football fan on here, they happen to be a Ravens fan, and I get fucking jumped with Ravens love, and it's fucking, it is fuck. This is my first time. Maestro just literally met Travis 2 seconds ago, and I'm excited because we're gonna talk some Steelers. I trust that he is a little bit more knowledgeable about the trades and the free agencies. I'm just here to talk shit about how we gonna win a division again.
Well, look, I don't know about that whole division thing, but let me just kind of give you guys just the background on Travis here. That's our guest here, Travis Hirko. So I met Travis on a AFC North Roundtable episode of Jelani Brown's podcast back in the summer. And ever since then, he's been asking me, can I get on? And I've been just kind of brushing him off a little bit. Not psych, I'm kidding about that. But I finally got him on. He wanted to come on and talk some Steelers, and he's also a Denver Nuggets fan. So we'll get into a little bit of NBA and, maybe a little something that's going on currently in sports. So Travis Hirko, he's in the building right now.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man? Glad you could make it.
Hey, thank you both for having me. It would not surprise me at all if Trey has been just brushing me off and blowing me off to come on here. Oh man, but yeah, it's really good to be on. I appreciate you gentlemen having me.
No doubt. You guys, I guess, have to feel excited about Juju coming back. I'm sure you guys gonna touch on to that.
I'm cool with it.
I was gonna say I'm actually pretty surprised by it.
Yeah.
I know that when you had reached out to me and said this episode was going to happen, Trey, I had messaged you back and said, hey, I'm really sorry to hear about Judon leaving to go to the Patriots. But at the same time, if it's any consolation, Juju pretty much said, that's it, goodbye today on TikTok. And, come to find out he's going to sign a 1-year deal. It's an $8 million deal. And I think it makes a lot of sense. If you look at the Steelers situation as far as what they could do next year, because from what I understand, the only offers he got were 1-year offers. He got one from Kansas City. He got one from the Baltimore Ravens. And this gives him a chance to play with Ben Roethlisberger one more year. And then, Ben's probably retiring after the season. So if he does retire, there's a lot of money opened up right there in itself to get Juju signed to a long-term deal. So I like it. I'm happy with it. I'm sad that we had to lose Steven Nelson as a result of it. I'm a little bit, hesitant to be super excited about that portion of it, because the Steelers can draft wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
i.e., Antonio Brown. Position for a very long. It's been a while since they've had a stud that they've drafted in the secondary. First, second, or third round.
You broke up a little bit. But I'm pretty sure that you're saying about how well we draft wide receivers as opposed to defensive backs. As far as how much credence do you put in while we're speaking about defensive backs? How much credence do you put in the idea of us possibly getting Cal Long?
I don't see it. I don't see the cap space.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't see it right now. Unless he's willing to take a team friendly deal, I just don't see it right now. It's just a situation of, there's guys who are going to get paid coming up, and we had to make some harsh reality moves this year.
Yeah.
The front line I think is going to be okay. I know that we lost Villanueva, but they re-signed Zach Banner. Zach Banner is probably going to kick out and be your starting left tackle this year.
Yeah.
He signed a 2-year deal. They just brought back BJ Finney, so
Mm-hmm.
he's going to be back in town. So we know that he has a little bit of diversity that he can play along that front line. So I think that as far as the offensive side of the ball is concerned, they're going to be pretty decent. But when you look at the defensive side of the ball for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that secondary has always been what has hampered them. I mean, if you look, I think it was 2018, they led the league with 55 sacks. They consistently lead the league with sacks. So the front seven's never been an issue.
Mm-hmm.
What held them back from being a good, studded, defense that was able, like in 2020, to carry the team was the secondary. They were getting burned left and right. And, I do have a fear that could be a possibility again if we can't have Alex Highsmith get to the quarterback, if we can't have Watt get to the quarterback, that secondary is going to be a little suspect. I mean, if they could bring in someone like a Long that's able to get in there and be an impact player day one, then absolutely. But I just cap wise don't see it.
So as far as Juju goes, and you referenced the Ravens offering him a contract and the Kansas City Chiefs offering him a contract. Both were similar deals, like 1 year, $8 million, $9 million. And it got me to thinking, because I personally could care less whether he signed with us or not. But looking at it, I guess from the Chiefs' perspective, they're like the defending AFC champions. They won the Super Bowl a year ago, and I'm just wondering what went into Juju's head in terms of going back to Pittsburgh. I get that he was on Twitter and was like, "Pittsburgh, I love you. I'm here to stay," and da-da-da-da. But what do you think was his reasoning for coming back? Do you think it's because the cap is expected to go up the following offseason and maybe he wants to cash in? Or is it that we just don't want to see him TikToking on logos? What do you think about that?
No, I think the issue with him not going to Kansas City, I mean, any player in their right mind right now would love to play with the likes of Patty Mahomes. Yeah. Everyone would. But when you look at what the Chiefs have, Juju's the type of player where, when you see him with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's not necessarily that guy who's going to, I'll put it like this. Juju Smith-Schuster led the Steelers last year in third down conversions, third down catches. He led the team in catches, and he led the team in contested catches as well.
Yeah, right.
Looking at the flashy plays, you wouldn't have seen that. You don't think about that. Even me as the Steelers fan who follows the team consistently, I was like, wow, it's kind of odd to hear that. So if you take, the type of player he is, he plays very much like a Hines Ward. He's a very physical player. He's very good out of the slot. He has a little more speed, obviously, than what Hines did. But if you look at the Chiefs, who is he competing with to get balls there? You have, you have Hill there. You have Kelsey there. You have now I'm drawing a blank.
McCole Hardman and Sammy Watkins and those guys.
Thank you. Yeah, Watkins is the guy I was first thinking of. But you have all these other receivers who, he's going to be competing with, just to try to get snaps, let alone targets, because of how, how diverse the receiving core is for them. with Pittsburgh, it's a little bit more laid out for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have you have Chase Claypool, who, you know, he's the speed guy right now, the get up and, you know, kind of catch a contested catch type guy. They have Vance McDonald, but he retired this offseason, so you're left with Eric Ebron. Ebron's going to get some catches, you know, but Ebron is also known for having some, you know, concrete hands at times.
Yeah.
You have James Washington. He's going to get catches, but he's not going to be targeted like Juju is that, you know, safety net for Ben. You have, you know, McFarland, who you know, when he comes out of the backfield,
for sure.
Oh no, Deontay Johnson. I mean, he's definitely going to, you know, take some of those catches away.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he has a lot more opportunity with the Steelers to have those catches and numbers rack up, which are going to help him, you know, next year going into that contract negotiation. I'd love to see him, you know, go with the Steelers and, you know, continue with them, you know, with a long-term deal. But, you know, if he doesn't, you know, he's going to put a lot more catches and stuff on tape with the Steelers than what he would with any other team.
Mm. Yeah, I hear you. I agree 100% that he's definitely going to put this is like the 1 year thing. Look, I'm surprised as everybody else was. I thought he was gone. I didn't like the fact that I didn't know until he signed a contract with the Steelers that Baltimore had even tried to get him, and I didn't like that at all.
Damn right, nigga. Damn
I didn't
right.
like that at all.
Coming after your people, man.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. But
well, the reason why he didn't go to Baltimore is because, you know, he has a running back that would be trying to throw him a ball at times.
I
was waiting for that.
Mm-hmm,
I was waiting for that.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for that. But in his defense, he also didn't want to play with Patrick Mahomes, and, you know,
really,
no.
I mean, I kind of look at that different. I mean, look, the way I see it, and Trey, we don't argue, but I talk about this all the time. Yeah, Tyreek Hill is going to get the majority targets, and Kelsey's going to be the number 2 option guy, but Juju Smith-Schuster with the Chiefs is a legitimate number 2 wide receiver. Kind of reminiscent, and I wouldn't dare compare Tyreek Hill's wide receiver skills to Antonio Brown. I think Hill's faster, but I don't think he has the wide receiver skill set that Antonio Brown had. But I think when you put all that pressure, you know, the pressure's on Tyreek Hill. It's on more so Kelsey.
The attention is on him.
He's going to get. I think Juju Smith would get a nice, you know, kind of the way he became a star in Pittsburgh was kind of everybody keying in on the other receivers, and he kind of eating because he getting the lesser of the defensive backfield from opposing teams. So I thought that would have been a good thing, and you know they probably would end up paying him, I would think, based on how he was going to produce in Kansas City. I'm glad he came back to Pittsburgh because I like him for Pittsburgh, and he loves Pittsburgh's fans. He seem to love Pittsburgh. I think what concerns me is that now, is he a legitimate number 1, or are we leaning towards Claypool being a number 1? I mean, even in this sense, Deontay Johnson definitely led the league in targets. I would understand. I get that Juju Smith maybe had more catches because he's the third down. He was like the kind of third down guy, but not kind of. He was the third down guy. But the market. And Travis, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just a Steelers Depot guy. But in this season last year, they was talking about Juju Smith was going to get upwards of $16 million. I guess my question is that after this next year, is that going to be the case again? And will we be able to afford that contract in 2022?
You know, well, I think one thing that definitely Juju had to take into account with all of this as well is it's something that's, you know, not really been touched on by anybody that I've seen yet is you have 3 teams that are offering you very similar contracts. They're all 1 year. They're all $8 million base salary. You know, what's the signing bonus on that going to be, you know, compared to what the base salary is going to be, you know, yada, yada, yada. But roughly you're talking $8 million round for each one of the contracts. So, you know, would you rather stay where you are, $8 million, have the opportunity to stick long term, because that money will be opened up next year, where you can get $15-16 million for a long term deal to be that number one guy on the team? Or would you rather try to go to a new location, new format, new scheme, new teammates, try to build those those bonds, and try to get that camaraderie with a quarterback in a 1-year setting for roughly the same money? It's like he's already there. He knows the system, he knows the coaches, he knows the players, he knows who he's working out with every day, he knows what Ben likes to see. I think that was something that was definitely taken into account as well with this. As far as him getting $16 million a year next year, if Juju Smith-Schuster, if we are able to see him go back to rookie or sophomore season Juju, as far as the 97-year, like, I'll be the first one to say, even though I have no idea why the hell Ben was throwing to a fucking nose tackle in the end zone against the goddamn Denver Broncos. I was there at that game for his 97-yard touchdown that he had against them.
Yeah.
And I watched that live, and he was running towards my end, the end zone that I was sitting at. And I will say, I have never seen a player, and I've been to quite a few Steelers games, even Antonio Brown stuff. I have never seen a player take a single cut, break, catch the ball, and just go like that. Brown was an elusive guy. Brown is a guy who, when he catches the ball, he could juke you out of your socks, and then he's going to juke the threads out of those socks. He's the type of guy who's very hard and elusive to get to after the catch. And Juju Smith-Schuster just has this ability to recognize, this is what the defense is presenting me. Talk to the quarterback, say, look, this is what they're doing. If you see the setup, direct me which way you want to go with how you're seeing it, and boom, make it happen. If he's able to get back to that type of Juju Smith-Schuster, as opposed to more the role player type that we saw for the most part last season, I think he has a legitimate chance of getting that $15-16 million a year.
Do you believe? And I'll just ask. I've been asking this on Twitter quite often since Juju signed a contract. Can I go ahead and buy my Juju jersey because he's going to be a mainstay in Pittsburgh for the next 5 to 7 years?
I think with the TikTok thing being kind of wrangled in a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, I am on TikTok. By the way, throw it out there. I've got almost 8,000 followers, trying to hit that 10,000. All right, I make stupid videos on there. But watching him really simmer down on TikTok and like the whole Corvette dance on the logos and stuff. Now, granted, I will say that the whole logo dance thing, in my personal opinion, was taken way out of context.
I agree 100%.
Because the national media was going, "Oh my God, he's doing it on the opponent's logo. He was doing it on the Steelers logo too." That was his pregame every game. Whether it's in the locker room, whether it's on the logo, and he would do it on the Steelers logo too. That was just his thing. And did it become a blown out thing? I really think it did in large part because, for the most part, we didn't have fans. We had to deal with COVID. They couldn't talk about attendance. They couldn't talk about much outside of the fact, oh my God, these 3 guys on the Tennessee Titans just got diagnosed with COVID this week, and now this game gets pushed back. Oh, the Baltimore Ravens have COVID problems. Oh, this team has a COVID problem. Then over time that gets old. So what are you going to do? You're going to find the first thing that can cause some type of controversy and conversation. And unfortunately for Juju, that happened to be it. So I think with that being kind of toned down, a lot of the fan base, really does love Juju Smith-Schuster. They want to see him stay. I have not seen this team gravitate towards a player like this in a very long time. And I don't know if that a lot of it has to do with the fact that he wasn't Antonio Brown, that he won team MVP over Antonio Brown. And with how sour things were going with AB at that point in time, if that was a portion of it, or if it was just the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster is a very bubbly type personality. He knows how to market himself. When you look at what he's done, I mean, he had a YouTube channel up before he even made it to the NFL. So his first off season, he played a prank on everybody at USC by going back to USC and sitting in some of his old classes, fully suited up for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sitting there taking notes with the backpack. And that's fun stuff that the fans can engage with. So the fans, I think, definitely want to see him stay. Ownership, has said multiple times they want to see him stay. I think it's just a matter of, of whether or not, like we said, once this year is over, Ben's contract's up. You got $27.5 million now that's freed up. How much are you going to give to him?
Yeah, and I guess I got to be somewhat unbiased here, but I do agree that the whole TikTok and dancing on the logo thing was an overblown thing, because the media tried to tie y'all losing those games down the stretch of the season to the TikTok and the dancing and everything like that. But obviously, everybody that watches football understands that the reason the Steelers were losing those games was a combination of Ben not being, Ben playing terrible, Ebron dropping passes, Deontay dropping passes, and, the defense, since, several times just not, playing up to what they were the first half of the season. But
and
Maestro, and no running game. Maestro, do not buy that man's jersey yet. That man just signed a 1-year deal, and I get what Travis is saying about cap space being freed up to potentially sign him to a long-term deal. Wait till that man signs that long-term deal. Then you can go cop that jersey.
Nah.
What if he don't? What if he doesn't resign? What if he plays 1 year?
Then I'll be irritated. Then I'll be irritated that I.
So why put yourself in that situation, bro? I'm looking out for you.
Juju. You ain't looking out for me. You a hater.
Hey. This is what I'm gonna say about copping jerseys. When it comes to copping jerseys, all I know is that fucking Bud Dupree is about to go on sale, and that bitch is about to be mine.
See me and my jersey buying for Pittsburgh. I recognize that I only want to do it with people who have made enough of an impact for the team, and are going to, or at least they got to be there for a while. So I know my next jersey is going to be Marquise Pouncey. I know that. Yeah. Like if I'm thinking about who I would get now, I'm leaning towards
Devin Bush.
What
about TJ Watt?
I was going to say TJ Watt.
I say TJ Watt's on that list.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards those types of people. I would even at this stage of the game, like AB's jersey is on. I never got an AB jersey, but his jersey is on.
I'll tell you what, you want an AB jersey? I got an autographed Bumblebee. I'll sell you.
Woo! We'll talk offline.
With the C, it's got a COD and everything.
Yeah, we'll talk offline.
Maestro, don't tell me that you never got an AB jersey and you're electing to get a Juju jersey. Granted, he's only going to be there at least we know for now, 1 year. Like, come on, wait till that man sign long term. Get the AB.
I think you need to see that. I think you need to see the AB Bumblebee hanging on the wall behind me. I think that you need to see that every Tuesday, bro. I ain't gonna hold you because I don't like.
But that's my point.
And let me tell you, Travis. Let me tell you what this Bama just did. This is not what his background looks like on a normal Tuesday. Normally, it's Charles Oakley and some other I don't necessarily remember. He put that there for you. I just want you to know that he put that there for you. He took all his other sports memorabilia down and put that up because he knew we was talking to a Steelers fan.
All this is all normal. This is just on the other side of the man cave.
So you intentionally put all that out there so he could see.
Come on. I told you in the beginning I had to be ready, man. It's 2 against 1. I had to be ready, bro. I'm sorry you was unprepared. I'm sorry.
Yeah, somebody go switch up. But I ain't even gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying. I got a couple jerseys back. I think I got a Jack Lambert that's just kind of itching to be thrown on.
Hey,
I see that Jamal Lewis, and I got to say, I highly doubt that Lambert is a guy that Jamal Lewis would have wanted to have met in the hole.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Maybe.
Ain't no maybe about it. Ain't no maybe about it.
Maybe.
Ain't no maybe about it.
My man rushed for 2,000 yards in the season. I'll hold that. I'll hold that. But hey, Travis, I got to take you back to a Sunday night in January. I just wanted to get your thoughts about when you saw your team down 28-0 to the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs. What was going through your mind when you was watching that game?
Honestly, I think that there was a lot of complacency put into that. When you look at how the team performed defensively, they came out a little slow, and I think that had more so to do with the fact that for the most part they got their bye week very, very early on in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was week 4 as a result of the Titans having COVID-19.
And you can argue it wasn't a real bye. You can argue it wasn't a traditional bye. Yeah.
Correct, because they spent the entire week preparing for it and then got told on 3 separate occasions it's being put. Same thing that happened with the Ravens game, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they were, on pins and needles. Are we playing? Are we not playing? So, yeah, they really didn't have a traditional bye week. They relied so heavily on that defense down the stretch that I think a lot of the guys definitely got worn out. And, when you shave a team down to essentially a nub, there's only so much effort that they have, not mentally, not spiritually, but physically, that they have left to play with. And the offense was just completely lackluster. There was nothing there. They were out of sync. They had no running game at all to speak of. And I think that, they said it, and I think it was, as a matter of fact, since we're talking about it, I think it was Juju who said it's the same old Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And they went into it thinking it's the same old Browns.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't won a playoff game since, I think, what was it, 2002 was the last time they won a playoff game.
No, they was in the playoffs 2002. They didn't win that game.
Okay, so you go back even. So it's like this is the first time that most of these players have ever been on that type of stage. We're playing at home. This is our division. We went 11-0. And I really think that they just rode too high and mighty. When Mike Tomlin was sitting there in the season saying, we need to keep ourselves grounded in the moment. We need to keep ourselves in here. We don't need to be thinking about a perfect season. We don't need to be thinking, okay, we've done all this. We're just going to see the Chiefs, for the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
I really think a lot of it was complacency and overlooking what the Cleveland Browns were doing. And when you have a running attack like what the Cleveland Browns have, that's just that. In my opinion, that's the nastiest duo in the league.
Yeah,
because they're both big powerhouses. I mean, if you get a guy like a Henry down in Tennessee, it's one guy for the most part. He's going to beat the living shit out of you, but who's coming at you. He's going to be pulled every 7-8 plays, and you're going to get a reprieve for 3 or 4 plays.
Right.
With the Browns, you don't have that. You have 2 guys who are just trucks out there,
right,
and all they want to do is hit somebody. They don't want to make a cut and go up the field. They're not a Peterson. They're not LaDainian Tomlinson, who was a cut guy and get as much as you can. They want to hit the shit out of you, put you on your ass, and then run for another 15, 20 yards. And when you have 2 guys that are cycling out like that, every single play, and they're fresh and you're not, you can't overlook something like that. I think Devin Bush not being in was definitely a factor in that. And granted, they lost Devin so early in the season, but they were so thin at the inside linebacker position, that we had to go get. And I'm not knocking him because he wasn't a terrible pickup for the Steelers, but we had to go get Avery Williamson, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a starter on the Jets, but we went out and got him because we needed him. If you're not the starter on the Jets, we got some issues that we're trading to get you to fill in holes. But that's what we were rolling with. And, I think that they really did overlook the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
This is my last question on Pittsburgh. And it pains me because he's a Hall of Famer. He has shown me all of my success as a Pittsburgh quarterback. He's all these things. It's Ben Roethlisberger playing 2 years that he shouldn't be playing. Meaning last year and this year coming.
Last year, no. I think that Ben actually went back a few years in his career as far as his strength, as far as his mobility. And I say that in a good way. We saw more strength out of him. We saw a little bit more mobility in the pocket from him. We saw a Ben Roethlisberger that was able to really kind of see the field more. Now, I don't know how much stake to put into, all the changes that he said that he made in the offseason. He stopped watching porn. He stopped, drinking. He stopped doing all these. I don't put stock into all that. What I really think it was is he had a year because of an elbow injury to really sit back and focus on getting back in shape. He came into the locker room thinner than I thought he was going to be, especially at 39 years old. He came back with a fluid arm motion. He looked really good. Now, what we did see down the stretch again is a 39-year-old quarterback who had, a couple more thousand throws onto his elbow, a couple more thousand throws onto that shoulder. You kind of saw it starting to take shape. I mean, I think it was week 16. He's not even practicing. He's walking around the practice facility with 2 ice bags on his knees that made him look like the freaking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He's Father Time's going to beat everybody.
Yeah.
And he's showing those signs of wear and tear. Excuse me. I think that I am definitely hesitant as to what his production is going to be this season. And if Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, he's already proven it. He's the last one standing from 2004. Nobody else from the 2004 class is still throwing a ball. Yeah. He is the last man standing out of that. He outlived Drew Brees. The only one he's not really going to outlive is Tom Brady. Yeah. But Tom Brady is just, Tom Brady. So Brady. Yeah, I hate Tom Brady.
I don't like Brady, man.
Let me preface that, yes, he did it. He achieved everything he achieved, but fuck Tom Brady.
Yeah, so I think that, him outliving everybody but Brady, essentially, for the quote unquote legends of this time. You have who do you have in the league right now that's going to really carry that torch? You have Patrick Mahomes, and Kyler Murray's shown a little bit, and it pains me to say it a lot, especially because of who's on here with us.
Come on now. I'm waiting for you to say it. You already know.
Trey. This for you, Trey.
You already know.
You do. I mean, you got Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll throw some other names in there too. Deshaun Watson, who I want to kind of get your opinion on, Travis, about the whole.
We really got to talk about
case.
that.
Why?
Do we really got to?
I think the thing with Watson is the Texans are just such a shit show.
Yeah.
And when you look at what he's been thrown into, it's like perfect example. I'm a huge LSU fan. I know that when Joe Burrow got drafted #1 overall, everyone was so excited. Oh my God, he's going back to Ohio. He's going back to play for his team that he rooted for as a kid. It's a dream of every NFL player to be drafted #1 overall to your favorite team. You look at how that team was built around him, and they did him dirty. There's no reason that he should have been in the game when he got hurt. Yeah, there's no reason for it. I mean, and the team doesn't give 2 rats' asses about Joe Burrow at this point in time. All they care about is their revenue. They care about putting asses in the stands, and that's it. Yeah. And for a long time, that's how the Texans were kind of built. It's like, oh, we have JJ Watt, we have Hopkins, we have
even
a running back at time. It's like it's like we have a couple of guys. Okay, Watson's just kind of be there. They're not going to focus on the line to protect him. And then you had everything that happened with the ass chin himself, and I refuse to say that man's name.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you trade Nuke?
That's a crime.
Cardinals.
Yeah. That's a crime. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like for what they got for him, that is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. And your excuse is baby mamas. That's just like that is the stupidest thing in the world. That is the most judgmental thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's like if you have a player of that caliber, you need to kind of bend the knee a little bit towards him, whether you're a coach, GM, and everything else or not. And I think that's something that he never really understood. And I really think that the 2 quarterbacks that I feel the worst for that have been at this for a while, one is definitely Deshaun Watson, and the other one is Matthew Stafford. Because the Lions did the same damn thing to Stafford, and now with Stafford going down to LA, I think he's going to have a chance to have a legitimate good season. I think it's great that he's going to have the chance to actually compete in a division and not just be the laughing stock. I mean, because the Lions are going up. You're competing against Aaron Rodgers. You're competing against the Vikings. You're competing. I mean, the Bears are the Bears, but
I was going to say the Bears might be in the same boat as
they are. But it's like when you're trying to it's like when everybody was trying to compete against Tom Brady in the AFC East every year. It's like the season hasn't even started. It's still preseason. Okay, here's the schedule. Great. Well, pencil the Patriots in for week 1.
Yeah.
They're going to be in the playoffs already.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what you have when you're a Detroit fan. And so Matt Patricia was not the answer for that team. They let him stick around far longer than they should have. I think him and a couple of others came off of that trend of whatever Bill Belichick jerks off to onto a page. As soon as that page becomes available to the free market, oh my God, we have to sign him as the next coming of Jesus as a coach goes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's karma for letting Jim Caldwell go. Like they went 11-5 the year he got there, and then they went like 9-7 a couple of times, and then they got rid of him.
Yeah, fuck Detroit. Detroit.
Yeah, for real.
So, I was just gonna say, man, Ben Roethlisberger should, in short, for me, Ben Roethlisberger should just go ahead and retire, man. I just want to be gone. I appreciate what he's done, but I'll say this, and I guess we can kind of put a close on Pittsburgh Steelers talk for. He should be gone. I wish him the best, and I wish him the best this year because I would like to keep this division, put this to 2 in a row right here. I would love it to be 2 in a row. I
don't know.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you this though, Trey. I know we lost some pieces on defense and all that's. Our defense still don't look bad.
No, I don't think it's like. I don't think it's the bottom.
Like,
I don't think it's the bottom of the bottom, but those were some pretty, I would say,
yeah, sure, of course.
Players
Tyson
that lost.
Tyson Alulu for me. Tyson Alulu hurts for me because he was having a career year last year. Mike Hilton obviously hurts, and I feel how I feel about that.
Real quick to kind of touch back on you saying Ben should be gone this year. My question is, who the hell are you going to have take over? Mason Rudolph isn't ready. Dwayne Haskins,
he's definitely.
I would root for Dwayne Haskins though. I would root for him because of the
Dwayne Haskins though
came out of.
Yeah, well, okay. Here's my point to that. When you're talking about Dwayne Haskins and the situation that he came out of, yes, Washington did nothing to really help his cause, but Dwayne Haskins had so many fucking off the field issues that there was no reason for them to invest in him. How do you go from being a top 5 draft pick, in your rookie year to being benched and cut the very next year? That's some Jamarcus Russell type shit right there.
I didn't like the sign. I didn't like the Dwayne Haskins sign, and I hope that I'm wrong about him, and I do. But
he's still young, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I hope I'm wrong about him. Mason Rudolph got to go, man. Because we're gonna have to find. We just gonna have to find out. We drafted him. For all intents and purposes, he's been our backup quarterback for 2 or 3 years. Look, I don't know that he's the. No, let me say this. I don't believe he's the answer. But I don't think Ben Roethlisberger and the way they was running the offense looked a little bit better. Again in week 17 against Cleveland than Ben Roethlisberger has looked the entire second half outside of that Colts game. I don't know why the idea for Ben Roethlisberger is to throw 40, 50, and 60 times. I don't know why that's the case. I don't know why the focus
running back, lack of a running back, and a lack of a running game.
Lack of a running game. But nobody adjusted, and I guess you put that blame. You also put that blame on the OC. He gone. I forgot his name.
Randy fucking Fichtner.
Yeah, and he's gone. and I totally forgot about him now that he's gone. Cause I'm sitting here second half like, okay, they know what we doing. Why do we keep doing this same thing? And they know what we doing, and nobody's adjusting. And it had been going on pretty much like ironically, the Washington football team game is the game where it's like, all right, they know now.
Yeah. No, and here's my 2 big questions that I have this offseason, because obviously, they're not going to do much at all in free agency this year.
Yeah.
So my question now is, one, you know that Ben's pretty much done after this year.
Yeah.
There's really no way you're bringing him back again. So with Ben retiring, who's going to be available on the market next year as far as quarterback is concerned? Because there is a horrible draft class for 2022 as far as quarterback goes. So this offseason for, going into the draft, do the Steelers trade up for a quarterback much so like they did Ben? Do you sit back and just kind of see what falls in your lap? Or do you try to move up a few spots and secure that running back position so you can focus more on the run and not have to worry so much about that quarterback position? Because there's definitely some good running backs coming out that are going to be available in the first round. But, at the same time, quarterback is central to the team. Yeah. And you also have to take into account Marquise Pouncey's retired, So what do you do as far as center goes? Are you going to have J.C. Hassenauer, be your center for the next couple of years? What do you do with that? Do you have B.J. Finney kick out and take over the center role? It's going to be interesting to see offensively what this team does this year to kind of compensate for these losses that they've had and the losses they are going to have. So, I will say now, I would not be surprised if the Steelers were to trade up, grab a quarterback, stick him right behind Ben and say, you put a fucking bug in his ear and you don't move. You stay connected to him at the hip. Much so like if you were in prison, you're holding his pocket and you're not going to move away from that man, and you're going to learn and you're going to be a sponge and you're going to shut the fuck up and learn how to be that quarterback in the future.
So Travis, now that you say that, you wouldn't be surprised if they moved up to get a quarterback. If they ever did that, do you have a preference of which quarterback you'd like out of that bunch coming out?
Oh God, you would throw me on a spot. Now I got to pull names up again real quick because I'm drawing a blank on names.
Oh, snap. Well, Trevor Lawrence is going number one. I think.
Trevor Lawrence, he's gone number one.
Yeah. So you got that kid Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields are your top ones right now.
Yes.
If I had my choice, I'd probably say Justin Fields or Mac Jones.
I forgot about Mac Jones.
Yeah. I would probably say one of those. Now, if somebody like a Kyle Trask were to fall to you, because Trask definitely has a chance to fall. I don't see him as a round one.
Yeah, neither do I.
Probably as a round two, and probably a mid round two. If you could hold off until day two or round two and kind of, slide up a few spots to snag him, I could see that working out possibly. I cannot see Mason Rudolph next year being called your day one starter. It would be, in my opinion, going back to like a Neil O'Donnell or a Tommy Maddox type situation. I just, even a Cordell Stewart, I would throw him in that same boat.
Why are we wasting our time? Why are we even wasting our time? I mean, if that's the, why is he even here? I mean, we keep playing. I know we cut Joshua Dobbs. I believe we cut him recently. But why do we even keep playing this Mason Rudolph game, especially after bringing in Haskins, who by the way, I don't believe is going to be a viable number two. But no,
I don't even think he's going to be on the field for games at all. I don't think he's going to ever dress.
Yeah. So the way it sounds like he's not a Pittsburgh Steeler in your eyes, Mason Rudolph.
Once his contract is up, no, I don't see it.
Yeah,
and I think that this might be his last year on this deal.
Right, this is his last year.
I don't see it. We've seen him win a couple games, but at the same time, a lot of the wins that he's had have been very shaky. Mm-hmm. And he has definitely developed more from when he first came to the team, but he's not developed enough to become the starter. I don't see him being that guy.
So would you lean? So first round, you lean more towards quarterback or running back, or other.
Personally, I see them. Now, granted, I'd say that I would not be surprised for them to move up to try to take a quarterback. I'm going to take the safe bet, bet here and say they're going to sit right there where they are. Like, I think it's 23 or 24.
24.
24. you're probably talking about either a center or you're talking about a running back. I don't see them. I mean, now then again, it is the Steelers, and I've seen them draft Artie fucking Burns, and I've seen them draft Trey Edmonds, round 1, and I'm just sitting there going, "What in the fuck are you?" Like, they would have both been there round 2. Like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
So I would not put them past them to do something stupid like that, but at the same time, I will also say, if they sit exactly where they are, you're probably looking center or running back.
So, Travis, how are you feeling about Najee Harris?
Dang,
got you speechless. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, Najee Harris is a good player. And I think he came from I want to say Green Bay.
Najee Harris is Alabama running back.
Alabama running back.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm thinking.
You think about Aaron Jones? Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I was on that.
I
was hoping for that too, but I knew that wasn't.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm having a rough day.
Whoa.
We'll blame it on the alcohol.
No,
not Najee Harris. I don't know if he'd be there at 24. Honestly,
that's the only argument that has been thrown.
I mean, if you look at teams that are drafting ahead of the Steelers, who all really needs a running back? I mean, there's a boatload of teams there.
A lot of teams need a running back.
I'm sure.
And then you got to break down, who's not going to go for quarterback. I mean, like, obviously, again, Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 overall. We all know that he's going to Jacksonville. So, I mean, you take him out of the equations and it becomes, a crapshoot. Who's really going to make the move for the quarterback? Who's going to really make the move for the running back? Because those are going to be the two, big keys coming off the board this year, I think. The tight end class is not that strong right now. The wide receiver class is just, I mean, the wide receiver class is always the wide receiver class. You're going to have, guys sprinkled all the way throughout, round 1, for that. I can see Najee Harris being the top 12 pick. And if you're talking, moving up into the draft to try to get somebody, it's not going to be for a running back.
Yeah.
I don't see them moving up to try to grab somebody like that.
Right.
I'm Najee. I'm team Najee Harris, but in my recent Twitter scrolling, I have started to like the cat from North Carolina at running back, Travis Etienne. I don't know how to say his name, but
Travis Etienne.
I have starting to grown to like him as a consolation prize, so to speak. But I'm not. But let me also say this, and I know we said we was gonna get off Pittsburgh and let him talk. We could let him talk some nuggets. But I do got 2 more things to say.
Man, hurry up, man.
Right. I'm not. I haven't given up on Anthony McFarland yet. I haven't necessarily given up on him yet. And 2, I want to know where you think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to place in the AFC North.
Anthony McFarland, to me, is more of a scat back.
Yeah.
He's not that traditional, cut and go guy. Like I said, he's not even a pound kind of guy. He's a guy who's going to try to hit, a linebacker or a defensive end, trying to get through the pocket, on his way out to a route. And, every team needs a guy who can do that, and I'm not going to sit there and knock him because, when we had that, running back, carousel when James Conner was out, he definitely showed that he has the ability to play in the NFL. I think that he needs to put a little bit more weight on. I think that he needs to, definitely, pass block better and develop that if he's going to stick around for a while. But I think that if we don't draft a running back round 1, we're going to have a big chance to see a lot of guys. And I think it's going to start with Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland, kind of swapping out, and we'll just kind of go from there. But I think the team is comfortable with Snell, so I don't see them, really going out of their way to pull Snell out and put McFarland in, unless the situation really calls for it. So if he continues to develop, absolutely, he's something that every team could really use, especially a team like the Steelers, who over the last couple of seasons, especially last year, was the dink and dunk kind of thing. You need that guy who's going to definitely be underneath. So I can see him with that. As far as where the Steelers are going to be in the AFC North this year, how nicely can I put this? I can't stand that I have to say this. I think the Steelers are going to be playing runner up this year, and I think they're going to be playing runner up to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes, sir. Man, you just woke me up from a 2-minute nap, man. I'm just sitting here thinking.
The reason
y'all finish.
No, I was gonna say I think the reason why is the Ravens definitely lost some key players. I mean, when you're talking about losing like a Judon in the center of that defense, and that defense definitely had its struggles last year. They're definitely going to have a lot more points put up on them this year, but you still have to compete with the fact that you have Lamar Jackson, who, again, I hate to admit it, I hate to say it, but he definitely improved his throwing abilities going into last year. And definitely showed that he has the ability to chuck the ball last year, and he gained more accuracy. You couple that with the fact that he still loves to run. You couple that with the fact that that offensive line is fairly sturdy, and
and the running backs, man, J.K. Dobbins came on strong last year,
very much so. And so when you have essentially three guys in the backfield, one of which being the quarterback who can run the ball, and the quarterback can still throw. He's shown that he can throw the ball. That's going to be a very difficult thing to stop. And when the Steelers have lost, key pieces into the defense like they have, I mean, Bud Dupree is going to hurt. That one is going to hurt a lot this year. Alex Highsmith definitely showed that he can play the position to hold it down, but Bud Dupree was on a monstrous tear last year. I mean, and the contract that he signed shows it. So, was it 4 years, $56 million is what he got?
Yeah.
But
wait, Maestro, you said you thought he was overpaid?
Yeah, he was overpaid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bud Dupree was overpaid. I'm glad he got his money because I like Bud Dupree, and I appreciate what he did in the last 2 years in Pittsburgh. But he was overpaid, I think.
Probably slightly overpaid, but I think that was more of a, we are hell-bent determined to get this guy to our team. And so if I got to offer a couple more million than what the other guys are offering, then I'm going to do it. I don't think it was a, Nick Foles type situation when he went down to Jacksonville of, look at what he did, the resurgence of his career. Oh my God, we have to have this guy. I don't think it was that. I think it was, Bud Dupree has shown over the last couple of seasons that he is able to improve. He is able to really, start bringing himself, further and further up throughout the ranks of being an edge rusher. And he had, they said, essentially, this is a guy that we really want, and I don't want anybody else to really have an opportunity to grab him. Right. So, I mean, he was probably overpaid a little bit, but again, I think that's more to what that was. But, when you lose a Bud Dupree, when you lose Tyson Alualu, when you lose Steve Nelson, when you lose Mike Hilton, those aren't exactly, small names on the Steelers defense. Those are all guys who had substantial playing time.
Yeah.
And, that those are going to hurt. And I think that defense is going to, come out a little bit slower than what they did last year. And I think when you're competing with the likes of the Ravens, that's a tough pill to swallow.
And what about Cleveland? What
I was about to say, I see Cleveland third. I don't see. This is my issue I have with Cleveland, and I've said it so many times on Smoking If You Got 'Em. On paper, they should be dominating this entire division. On paper, they should.
On paper, they should, 100%.
But in application, they don't. Cleveland has a tendency of blowing it up. Cleveland has a tendency of having these really big spikes, and they look really, really good for, a season or a half a season, and then it all just falls off, and you see it nonstop with them. And so I can't put any faith into the Cleveland Browns. I mean, when you look at them last year, that was supposed to be their year. They had Baker Mayfield. They had Beckham. They had that cat that they got from Miami. What's his name?
Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry. They had, the running back, with Chubbs and everything. They
More
had
importantly, they had
Miles,
the Chiefs on the ropes in the playoffs.
They did, and they blew it.
Yeah.
They choked it out.
Yep.
They had Miles Garrett, they had Derek Fisher, they had all these guys where on paper it's like, oh my God, this is a team to worry about, and it never came together. I mean, for Christ's sakes, when Jarvis Landry sitting there in the running back or the wide receiver room, yelling at the entire wide receiving core, 3 days into camp about, get off your fucking phone, get your head out of your ass. This is what the problem is. This is the culture of this team. It takes a lot to fix a culture. You can change the personnel, but if the culture of the locker room doesn't change, you're not going to change much at all. And I'll say every now and then a blind squirrel is going to find a nut. It's going to happen. And until they show me they can do it consistently, I have no faith that they will do it consistently.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, Travis, and we'll get to the next topic. Our division did go up against the NFC East this past year. So you can argue that some of those wins, and really for everybody, for Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, those were easy 4 wins for all the teams in the division.
We didn't get 4 wins.
So who y'all lost to? Oh, the football
lost
team.
To the football team.
That's right.
Y'all beat up. Y'all went 4-0 in the East.
Yeah, we went 4-0. We went 4-0 in the East. Yeah. So, hey, let's switch topics. Man.
Oh, you can switch topics. Pittsburgh winning the division, bruh. You heard me.
Too confident.
I said what I said. I remember.
Now, I didn't say. I said they wouldn't win the division. However, this year is the stairway to 7.
Hey. He said what he said.
Yeah, okay. We'll see about that. Hey, let's talk some NBA, man. So, Travis, so you're a Denver Nuggets fan, and
trying to fuck it up already.
Yeah, I know. But check this out, right? So me and Maestro, we've had a lot of conversations about the Nuggets, particularly in the playoffs last year in the bubble, and we've talked about how Jamal Murray's been going off for 40, 50 points in, a couple of these playoff games last year. I don't pretend to watch, or I haven't watched much Denver Nuggets basketball this season. But I do know that they did come out the gate kind of struggling a little bit and then kind of picked it up, right before the All-Star break came. Nikola Jokic, I think, is an MVP candidate this year because of the numbers that he's put up. He's almost averaging a triple-double this year. How you feel about it, man? Speak on it. How you feel about your Nuggets this year?
So I will say out of the gates on this, I have not followed the Nuggets this year nearly as much as I have in the years past. I moved from Colorado back out to North Carolina. What was it? January of 2018. So didn't get the NBA center court out here. Mm-hmm. So I only catch them when they're on like national televised games. But from the article, I still read the Denver Post and stuff like that, and a lot of the sports articles on them. I think a big problem that what the Nuggets had coming out of the gates this year was they really had a lack of any type of camaraderie on the court. It was, a lot of, discombobulated, we're just going to try to run down and, pass around, and if something opens up, it opens up, and oh, look, the pass got intercepted. I think they led the league in tip passes. They led the league in intercepted passes. They led the league in block shots. And that leads the Nuggets in particular, from what, I've seen and read, to a lot more fouls. And when you're giving teams, consistent shots at the free throw line, you're not setting yourself up for any type of success at all. And they had a big problem with guys fouling out. They had a problem with, guys getting any kind of momentum going. And then as the seasons progressed, I think they've kind of, brought that back down to earth. And I think part of it could also be something you're seeing with a lot of teams. The team that I actually followed the most out of Colorado still, and I got the package for them, is the Colorado Avalanche. And what you see with,
we're not talking about them today. We're not talking about them.
Well, but I was going to say, in contrast, to the Nuggets, when you look at what the Avalanche were doing in the offseason, a lot of the guys were still getting together and on their own, working on the sport, working on the team, working on the game and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though facilities weren't open, even though they didn't have the ability to really get out and do a whole lot because of COVID. From what I understand, the Nuggets weren't really doing that. They were on more of a sit and wait to see what the NBA is going to do with this type of approach. And so when you have a shortened season, when you have all the issues going on, socially with COVID-19 and everything else, you're seeing a lot of teams take, falls into their production because and anybody who is an athlete, that's a very, very delicate minded person in certain ways. And when you fuck with the psyche of what a player is used to, what a player is accustomed to, it can have a drastic effect on them in their performance, on the field, on the court, on the ice, whatever it is. And I think that's what we saw out of the Nuggets. And then as the season has progressed, they've gotten more and more comfortable with the situations that they're finding themselves in.
So let me ask you, man, projections. I would love to sit here and wax poetic about my NBA team, but we're trash, and I'm going to act like I don't even watch the NBA. Where do you see the Nuggets going?
No. Who's your team now? Now I'm interested.
The Wizards.
I know, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That.
Wow. Hey, did you know there's two types of people who wear a Wizards jersey? The players and you, and there's only one person in that group who's happy to wear one.
Yeah. I don't even think it's me. I think it's I don't know who it is. Brad Bill, maybe he ain't happy, but I digress.
You want to stay there though. You don't want to get traded.
I digress. Where projections, do the Nuggets have a chance of going to the finals? Where you see them going? Where is their ceiling?
I see him probably going out mid-round in the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're going up against, you're going up with Steph Curry, playoff Steph Curry is insane. Trey's actually going to like this one. I have a personal distaste for one LeBron James, to the point where now that he has announced that he has taken part ownership of the Red Sox, I am seriously considering renouncing my Red Sox fandom for someone else. Because
hey man, I'll like you a lot more if you do that, bro.
I'm up right now to my hometown team is the Anaheim Angels. I was born about 15 minutes at Chapman General Hospital, so like 15-20 minutes from where the Angels play. Or the closest team here is the Atlanta Braves. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, do I want to go with more of the home team, or do I want to go with more of the local team now? But I'm very much so considering getting off the Red Sox fandom with that. And I've been called bandwagon and stuff like that because of it. But I'm a firm believer that if you have moral differences with somebody that you cannot overcome, it's difficult for you to support something that they are with. So I hate the Lakers.
Man. Hey, listen, man. Nobody's gonna call you a bandwagon if you choose to root for an Atlanta team. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you at on social media?
If you want to find me on Facebook, I'm on there as Travis Hirko. Again, I really appreciate you gentlemen having me on. It's always nice to talk football.
Yes, sir.
Lamar Jackson is not going to be the MVP this year. I'm just letting you know that right now.
He's gonna win the Super Bowl. He's gonna win the Super Bowl this year, though.
To hell.
Okay. It is your lie. You are more than welcome to tell it how you want.
All right, man.
All right, Travis. We appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
All right, no doubt.